Good evening. This is Stan Matthews, joined by my co-host for the very first time, the It Girl,
Hello,
Michelle
everybody.
Harrison. And we are here at Gems Radio Studios in Verona, New Jersey, on 91.7 FM and streaming worldwide at Gems Radio, www.gemsradio.net. We are joined in studio by two magnificent authors and empowerment coaches that are with us. I love teachers because, the scripture says, how shall they know lest they have a teacher? So we have Shahid Abdullah, the author of a magnificent book that I just finished this afternoon called A River of Gold, that teaches the untold story of black wealth in this country. And we're also joined by the person who's written the acclaimed empowerment journal, I want to call it, Broken Chains, Miss Sarah J. Cepeda of Broken Chains LLC. And so as I welcome you into the broadcast, I want to share with you our three empowerment and enrichment principles that we share every single Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night here in the Matthews broadcast. First and foremost, you, my audience, the best audience in the world, you are world changers and kingdom builders. Jesus the Christ, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. But where did he say it? On this earth as it is in heaven. So our assignment is to be kingdom builders. We are always talking about waiting till we get there. Where we are right now is supposed to be there according to him. So we have an assignment of being kingdom builders. We need to go ahead and do it. And we have world-changing gifts that we came into this world. None of us are just alike. Each one of us have 1.8 million instructions on our DNA code. Yes, the human being is a piece of software. We are the universal, infinite, powerful application of the Creator. You talk about apps. We are the Creator's most important application. But with all of us having 1.8 million instructions on our DNA code, none of those 1.8 million instructions is exactly the same. No one, Michelle, has your beautiful smile. No one, Sarah, has your beautiful heart. No one has your wisdom, Shahid. We all are uniquely, the Bible says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So given that that's the case, you are all world changers. None quite alike. I am happy no one on earth can do what I can do because it allows me to feed my three children, Shahid, and pay college tuition. So I want to stay in my lane and continue to be able to earn a living staying in my lane. The second principle, after aligning with your infinite identity, understanding you're a world changer, and go ahead building that kingdom with your world changing abilities. The second principle is let us all agree to invest in fellowship, to invest in how we make each other feel. We are living in times in which how we make each other feel is at a low premium. We have a president of the United States who says that, upon encountering a woman, you can grab her by the pee and do literally anything you want. And if you have enough money, they will let you do whatever you want. He got caught on tape saying this during the campaign. We have a time in which investing in how we make each other feel is at a very low premium. But I follow the teaching of the late, great Maya Angelou, our poet laureate, who said in one of her most famous pieces, people may forget what you said. They may even forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel.
Absolutely.
So we need to go ahead and invest in how we make each other feel. That is the principle of fellowship. Remember, right there in the book of Genesis, after God had done all of his work, so said Genesis, he said man was lonely and needed a helpmate. So we are made for fellowship. At the end of the first chapter of Genesis, it says, and so a man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife. So, Brother Shahid came fulfilling the Genesis piece. He brought Aisha with him to that. Right. He said, I wasn't coming up there alone. So that's fellowship. So let's go ahead and make an investment in fellowship and how we make each other feel. Finally, Let's use the collective wealth that we have in this country and abroad so that we can truly build the physical kingdom here on earth. The Chamber of Commerce of the United States of America last year said that urban communities had the purchasing power of $3.4 trillion. That the African American community has $1.8 trillion to spend, and the Hispanic community, as far as I'm concerned, just black folks who speak Spanish, they had $1.6 trillion to spend. Combined, Platinos and collard greens had $3.4 trillion, which would make the two of them the seventh wealthiest nation in the world. Now, how can the seventh wealthiest nation in the world have communities that look like our communities, have the failure rates that our children have in school, have such low business success and such low wealth per capita? We have the dollars to change this. We just are not using our dollars intelligently. So the third principle on the Empowerment Enrichment broadcast is that I'm not asking any of you listening to us on this broadcast to hate on anybody, support everybody, but charity begins at home. I'm just asking us to spend at least 10% of that 3.4 trillion or 340 billion with each other. It is said that in the Asian community, the dollar circulates in the United States of America 19 times before it touches another hand that is not Asian. It is said that 16 times in the Hindu Indian community. It is said that 13 times in the Jewish American communities. The dollar leaves the Hispanic and black community in 6 hours. We get some McDonald's, a haircut, and then we send it right out of the community. Now think from this perspective. If we were indeed a nation at the United Nations, if you got 3.4 trillion and 6 hours later you sent all of it out of the country, what would the country look like? What would the country's infrastructure look like? What would the country's school system look like? What would the country's businesses look like? Well, they look like the ghetto. They look like the ghetto, and because I've had the blessing and privilege to travel, the ghettos in America are just the same as the ghettos in the Caribbean. If you've seen Newark, you've seen Kingston, Jamaica. You've seen Port of Spain, Trinidad. You've seen Bogota, Colombia. I'm Guyanese, so I lived in grew up in the only English-speaking country on the South American continent, so I have seen Caracas, Venezuela. I have seen Buenos Aires, Brazil, traveling with my grandfather when I was younger, and let's just say the brown and the black world in all too often looks like a ghetto. This is a global sickness of the mind that we have. We have the dollars, but we just do not use them intelligently. And again, I want to underscore this fact. 12,000 years ago on this earth, there was no issue as racism, for there was only one race at the dawn of this current epoch of time. My God only made one race, that's the human race. The environment, cold, wet, moist, made some of us over 12,000 years look different than others. We are one human family, but so long as this brownness that occupies my face and my skin means something to somebody else, I'm going to defend myself. And I'm going to defend those who look like me. I want to do what Dr. King said. I want to judge other people by the content of their character and not by the color of their eyes. I want to do that. But until we get there, I'm going to love on y'all and pray to God that y'all love on me. So the final thing we do as we go into the broadcast is say thank you to this great audience. We have people that are listening in Barbados and Trinidad. My cousin Audrey Pereira, hello. My cousin Phaedra Andrews from the UK. She is the finance director of Amazon UK. Go ahead, big girl. I want to say hey to my friend Simpson Da Silva in the country of my birth, Guyana, South America. He always texts me before the show and says has a good show. I want to say hello to a friend of mine, Ernest Hayes, who is a naval trust officer who is down there in Memphis, Tennessee. My cousin Dennis in Jacksonville. We will see you this weekend. We'll be traveling south to spend a little time for the weekend and coming back. To all of you, all of our fans in Virginia, Ron Pravat and family, Miss Gaines in Columbus, Ohio, who will be with us next week, and also to all of the people who follow us in Maryland, and to all of you within the sound of our voice right here in the tri-state area. Tell someone else. Watch the Matthews broadcast here at www.gemsradio.net and ask your whole crew to watch too. All we are trying to do for 1 hour, 3 days a week is empower and enrich you. We are asking you with all of our heart to love on each other and work with each other and build kingdom here together. Harry and Anna Staley, I didn't forget you down there in Charleston, South Carolina. I look forward to seeing you guys at the end of the month when you come on up here to Old Jersey. So we look forward to having you here. And so right now, with all of our thanks for all those I didn't mention, it's not because I don't know you're here. Don't hit me with a barrage of texts. I just can't say all the names right now. Vernon Bradbury, the captain of the Newark Police Department. I want to make sure you don't roll up on me on that motorcycle and give me a ticket, Vernon. Love you to death, brother. Hosea Reynolds, the sergeant of the East Orange Police Department. My college roommate, best friend, Anthony Moss. I know you guys are out there doing your thing. Just go home, be safe this evening. So right now I'm going to turn it over to my co-host. Welcome, the it girl, Michelle Harrison, that's with me. She's going to ask Sarah and Shahid some questions about the books that they offered and give them a chance to be a blessing to all of you out there with their wisdom. Michelle?
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank
I love that necklace. I love that necklace.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to start by asking, what is the name of your book?
The name of the book is actually Tapping Into Your Inner Beauty, Let It Shine From Within. And I actually co-authored
Do I get
it.
one? Did you bring one? All right.
I
That's
bought
what I'm
mine
talking
full.
about.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and I'm actually a co-author on the book. So it's a motivational book, a self-help type of book, and it's geared towards women who maybe have been through some trauma and are just looking to move to the next level in their lives.
Okay, nice. What made you want to target women about their inner beauty?
Because I suffered from low self-esteem for years, for probably over 20 years of my life.
Right.
And having gotten out of that and escaped from that, I know the burden that was lifted from me.
Right.
So I just want to be able to help other women to deal with situations like that and deal with their feelings and to be able to rise above it.
Okay, nice. What would you say is the unique value? Is that the unique value, or do you have another?
That's definitely the unique value. I feel like I have a fighter spirit, and I just want to use that to bless other women and help them to fight too.
Nice, nice. It's always great to give back.
Yes.
And it's good to see that you not only went through it, but you're helping someone else.
Yes.
You know, and that's how we all learn how to overcome our fears or whatever we're going through. Who's a great referral for you?
Like I said, women who are looking to just change their lives, move on to something new, and maybe they're not quite sure what steps to take to get there, I can kind of help them in the right direction.
So
I actually have a program that's coming up in May. It's a 6-week transformation and coaching program.
Oh, nice, nice.
I was just going to ask you
So-
that. Do you have a coaching program to go along with that?
Yes, the program is called Journey to Your Best You. It is a 6-week program, as I said. It runs May 20th through June 24th, every
Oh.
Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. It's in Lindenwold, New Jersey. And we're going to cover things like manifesting your dreams, vision boards, things of that nature.
Nice. So how would they
Awards. I love
get in
this.
contact with you?
They can reach me at www.sarahjcepeda.com, and that's S as in Sam, A-R-A-H, J as in John, C as in Charles, E, P as in Peter, E, D as in David, A. SarahJcepeda.com.
I
I
got
think
it.
they have their pens ready. Hope you all have your pens ready.
Why is she looking at me like I'm the person with bad memory? Yeah. I got it already.
Is there anything you want to offer your audience today?
Yes, definitely. I would like to offer 15% off of the book or
Amen. Amen. I love it.
also this program.
Nice, nice.
And any service that they would sign up for on my website, which is the personal coaching, or if they would like to have me for a speaking engagement, and they just have to use the code GEMS15.
Gems 15. Okay. Is there anything that you would like the audience to know? Anything extra that you may want to get out there for us?
Well, I think that this 6-week transformation program is going to be a wonderful program.
Right.
It's actually my first kickoff program, so I'm very excited about it,
Nice.
I know it's going to be very helpful to some women.
Very nice. So you have something great going on, and hopefully all of the women out there will be a part of it. It's tapping into your inner beauty, because that's where it begins.
Exactly.
It makes you look even better on the outside if your inside is right.
Yes,
so
when
thank you
feel
so
good,
much.
It definitely comes out.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing yourself with us.
Thank you.
Now we're going to turn it to Shahid. How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine?
Yes, I am.
That's
I
great.
feel very good about today.
So how long have you been an author?
Well, I've been an author for, I have 2 books out, so about 4 years. I've been writing for, I guess, 10, 15 years.
Nice.
Just decided to publish some of that work. I have some of the books that I'm still writing now, to be published. So it's an ongoing process.
Right. Very nice. So what book are you sharing with us today?
Today I'm sharing with you one book especially, the book called The River of Gold. This book is designed to motivate the African American people as to what our forefathers had done, and this would tend to make them today see that there's power within our community, just as you were speaking earlier about the wealth that's in the African American community. That was first discovered by African American people in around between the golden era, I call it the golden era. It came between 1887 to 1954, about approximately.
Okay.
And that golden era was a time when the African American community had started to do what all communities do. See, while we were in slavery, in chattel slavery, we didn't have the opportunity to exercise those particular things, would bring a river of gold into the community.
Right.
River gold is the flow of currency. And the flow of currency wasn't in the African American community. We were working for other people, therefore the flow of currency was in their community. But when Emancipation Proclamation came out, and we began to move all over the country, such as in Oklahoma, we set up 60 different towns in Oklahoma.
Right.
You heard of Black Wall Street, of course, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
But there was more Black Wall Streets. There was one in Richmond, Virginia, Durham, North Carolina. In fact, Durham, North Carolina had the largest business in African American communities throughout the world.
Wow.
It had North Carolina Mutual, it's an insurance company. And the largest community of African American progress and money was in Chicago, south side of Chicago. It was called the Black Metropolis, a city within a city.
Wow.
That's how powerful it had become. That's when we discovered the River Gold. During that time when we were sort of isolated or segregated, we found that by working together, pooling our monies together, we began to get stronger in businesses. We built schools, we had train depots and telephone companies and all this type of thing in our community. And this book, The River Gold, shows that. And it shows it in a fascinating way because I used the family
Yes, you did.
to move around and show us the different, and bring the, in other words, the story shows from the inside out rather than being told from the outside in. It tells inside out, so you get the feeling of being there. You get the feeling of what they felt during that time of all this excitement was going on, all the things they were doing, what they were feeling. You get that feeling from this book here.
Right.
So that's the basis of the book. It goes through the golden era of the African American
I
community.
feel rich just listening to you, brother. I want you to tell these ladies and everyone in the audience and everyone in the reception area, who were the Carpenter brothers,
The Carpenter brothers.
the car company.
Oh, the car. Oh, you're talking about Patterson.
Patterson, I'm sorry.
Patterson. Well, Patterson, the first Patterson was the father, C.J. Patterson. He escaped from the plantation in West Virginia, and he moved to Ohio. And he had a skill. He was a blacksmith. See, most of our people during the slavery time, they had skills because they were the ones who built the plantations.
Right.
So they learned to be carpenters, they learned to be blacksmith, and blacksmith, you know, is the art of making steel. That's what they learned, to make steel. And this, what Sam just spoke about, Patterson had the best steel in the country once he became free in Ohio. And he was using that steel to make what they call wagons and make buggies and things of that nature. And his son, Douglas was the one who made the first car, automobile. He put together, because of this beautiful steel that they made, he was able to make the best cars. They made Roadster, and in around 1917, that car went for $620. He was rolling off cars before Henry Ford was rolling off cars on down his line. See, we didn't get those stories, but during that time, our people were doing many things, and that automobile had some other things that are not explained in the book, but explained in my other literature, took place. It wasn't just the Depression, but other things took place by merchants to cause a sort of slowdown in the production of the African American people. Yeah. Many of the riots you read about, they weren't riots like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the riots between the races. It wasn't. Right. It was an orchestrated attempt to stop African American progress.
Wow.
You see, African American progress was a threat to the competition of the wealth in America. See, they weren't concerned about our color. They were concerned about how much competition would we be for gaining the dollar in America, for making themselves rich. And the African American community became very, very wealthy. Suppose, just at the time, the numbers you just read, that $1.4 trillion was used today as our forefathers used it. Do you know it took $1?
That's right.
1 year to get out of the African American community during that period of time.
Wow.
1 year, it circulated all over 1 year. So imagine that $1.4 trillion in our community today being used like that. We would be a nation.
Right.
But not to belong that point, but that was the threat. That was the threat that the country saw. They saw that the African American community was coming so strong, independent. It was a threat to what happened in the secession of the South. When the South broke away from the North,
that's right.
They saw an independent nation coming up. Not because we wanted to be independent, because they forced it on us through segregation and the Jim Crow laws. That pushed us off to ourselves. They didn't never expect us to grow as fast as we grew. They didn't expect us to do the things we did, but we did.
Right.
I recall the great griot and teacher, one of my mentors, Dr. John Henrik Clark, saying that in our fight for equal justice under the law and civil rights movement coming after Brown versus Board of Education from the period of 1954 to 1968, that was a worthy struggle because every human being has the right to struggle for equal justice under the law.
Absolutely.
But he felt that the second part of that, integration, was a bag of worms.
That's
Somebody
right.
told us it was a bag of candy, but we reasoned it was a bag of worms.
A bag of worms.
Because when we decided to start eating in everybody else's establishment, when we started to go to everybody else's dry cleaners, when we started to go to everybody else's grocery store, we lost all those things ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we left those black-owned businesses that you're talking about behind. They suffered and withered away and died on the vine.
Absolutely.
I tested myself 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. I take my sons to get their haircuts with me on a Saturday, and I said, listen, boys, we're going to go into Newark, and I want you guys to find me the first grocery store where the person behind the counter is an African American and they could tell you they owned it. We did not find one in the North Ward, in the West Ward, or the South Ward.
Right.
The Dominican community has decided, and I take this as no offense, they see an opportunity.
Absolutely.
The Dominican community has decided that they are going to sell food in black communities, period. Every one of those bodegas, and what the Dominicans don't have, the Koreans have.
Right. Right.
Now, when you can't even sell groceries to your people, you're subject to eat whatever anybody else wants you to eat.
That's right.
Whether it's fresh or not.
Absolutely.
You have no control.
It's right around the corner.
That's right. See, and that's one of the things that we have to key on. What I concentrate a lot in the book, and what I concentrate too in my other writings and workshops that I give, in terms of we have to look to the solution. See, the solution now is more important than the problem.
That's right.
It's more important than how we got to the problem, the solution. The solution we have today is that we're suffering, whether we realize it or not, all of us are suffering from what they call cultural deprivation. And when the people suffer from cultural deprivation, they don't tune in on themselves.
Right.
Like those people who have a strong foothold in their culture. Culture is how we move from one generation to the next, how we pass through time as a people. And without that cultural foundation, we're at the whim of everybody else's ideas and concepts. And they treat us as if we're a piece of paper floating in the air. They blow us from one spot to another, change our clothes when they want to change our clothes. They tell us how to put our music out. They tell us what to wear. They tell us all of these things because we don't have that strong cultural foundation.
And we listen to them.
And we have no choice, really.
Right.
I mean, in the sense that, of our hearing, because we don't control the media the way we should. But now that we do have a choice, we can start going in and do as I do and some others are doing. We are teaching culture. We're not just how to dance. That's not culture. That's an expression of culture. Clothes, an expression of culture. You know, when I first started designing clothes, I was designing clothes because I found out that I noticed that the African American male was the only man on the planet Earth who could not dress himself. He always wore someone else's culture. He sombrero. He wore the jalabia from the east. He wore someone else's culture because he did not have his own identity. So I started designing clothes, and that's what I call the Bilalian, the new look that I wear myself. And that was because we need a strong foothold in cultural identity. We're doing a process. We started it on a show that I was on the other day. We're going to try to bring together the African American cultural base that our forefathers started. They understood this. Our forefathers in the 20s, they understood it. They were opening up theaters. They had over 50 theaters throughout the country. Peking Theater was one of the major ones in Chicago. And these were theaters designed by African Americans, ran by African Americans, the actors were African Americans, all their themes were African American, and they made money, big money, because it was in their own community. And they were perpetuating the culture, how we think, how we see the universe, how we see God, how we see all these other things comes from the culture. Our impression of the space, our impression of how we share space comes from somebody else's culture. And our forefathers was changing that. They were giving us our own identity. And that's where we have to put our emphasis on. We have to start reshaping our self-image. And the only way we can start reshaping our self-image is start to see the positive aspects of our culture and feed it to our people.
Brother Shahid, you are so right. The one book that I have published is called Glow, because one of the things that's spoken about in the Christian tradition is magnifying God on the outside, that Holy Spirit on the outside. So I wrote this book, and the thesis of the book is that we should live in alignment with our divine identity. Right there in Genesis, the first chapter, verses 26 to 28 said, "And God made man and woman in his likeness and image. And he gave them authority to rule."
Right.
That means that if your life is not ruling your social circumstances, your financial circumstances, your political circumstances, your economic circumstances, you are living out of alignment with who you are.
Absolutely.
You were made to rule and to have dominion over everything. There's not supposed to be a goal that you cannot set and reach and achieve in His name and by His power.
Absolutely.
There is not supposed to be. And I agree with you. This lack of cultural continuity is real. Let me give you one example. We cry, single women. I was raised by a single woman. My hero is not a hero. My hero is a shero who worked 2 jobs to put me through private school and help me get through law school. I feel a praise coming on. Whenever I think about my mother and heaven, thank you, Mommy. Let me tell you something about this cultural continuity thing, how it's so real. Culture is rules, ethical and moral rules from which a people arrive and thrive. Cultural and ethical rules, the do's and the don'ts in your community. One of the things that we cannot remember is what the definition of father is in our context. So in doing some research with the giants, Joseph Ben-Jochannan and John Henry Clark, among my mentors, Len Jeffries City College, chairman of African American Studies, I found that in West Africa, much of West Africa, Cornelius, the boy's biological father is not his legal father. Why? Why is that?
Right.
The boy's biological father, the man who made him with his mother, is not his legal father. But let me tell you why. This is the foresight of our people, Shahid. Because a man may leave his woman and leave the boy without a father. But a brother has no reason to leave his sister. So if his legal father is his uncle, he'll always have a daddy.
Right.
Think about how wise that is.
Yeah.
But because we don't have cultural continuity, Sarah, we didn't know how to pull that out.
Right.
So you know, sisters run around talking about, this no good guy. Guess what? If you looked at his uncle as the daddy, you wouldn't have had the problem.
That's right.
But without cultural continuity, you can't remember that.
Can't remember.
You feel me? And what you are saying, right, is what my favorite movie, The Lion King. In the entire movie, when Simba was running around talking about Kuna Matata with little bugs and rodents and rats, his father's memory kept saying, remember who you are.
Right.
Remember who you are, right? And what does the word remember mean? Re means to return. Member means membership. What is the word remember telling us? Return to membership. Membership in what? We are a spiritual, infinite, uniquely created being having a physical experience. We're on this earth and it's supposed to be a vacation until we go home. Huh? This is not my home. I'm possessing this physical skin, but that is my home.
Right.
Right.
And so when he says, remember who you are, right, what that book emphasizes is that all of us was fearfully and wonderfully made. We have an infinite, immortal spirit that can achieve anything. But if everybody tells us something different about what we are not and what we are, we'll never get to that place
That's
Right.
that you're talking about, brother.
That's right. I agree with you 100%. You know, one aspect about that I think that is really, that I tried to capture in the book primarily, is to bring out the fact that not only are we a one spirit, one creation, but that oneness is broken up into parts. We were created individuals, and the individual was created to magnify the collective. So even as an individual, like flowers in a garden, if we ourselves, if the individual is himself, what you say at the beginning of the program,
That's right.
that's the beauty.
That's,
That's the beauty in the collective.
That's right.
If the individual is itself, and it's the same thing with ethnic groups. If ethnic groups just manifest that which they were brought into existence to manifest, they would add to the whole beauty of the whole of the creation. But when they lose that, then there's something we see in the ghettos that when you go through, that ghettos being broken down, people not taking care of children. When they lose that beauty of being independent, of being something unique, when they lose that concept, then anything just like wild grass growing in a field.
Well, that's my metaphor for life. I remember telling a professor in law school, Cornelius, he was talking about this great melting pot of America. And so I waited till he finished, and I said, Professor Carruthers, we weren't supposed to melt. I said, I don't subscribe to any melting pot theory. I have the salad bowl theory.
Right.
In the salad bowl, the lettuce is not trying to be the onions, and the onions are not trying to be the tomato,
Working together.
and the tomato is not trying to be the croutons. But when you mix that thing up,
Oh, it's amazing.
right, all of it comes with its own unique. That's what
Right.
Shahid was getting. I'm not trying to melt. I want you to know who I am.
Right.
Right, and as I tell my youngest son all the time about stand up and deliver, your meaning as an individual. I tell him, Elijah, you only have meaning in the world because there's other people. Because if you were put in space, it would not matter what your name was, what your
Right.
eyebrow, what your color was.
Right.
Cornelius
How you look.
means something because he means something to all of us in terms of what he does.
Right.
You have a unique gift, brother. You have a unique gift, sister, because within the context of this collective, Sarah, the empowering sister of Broken Chains fame, means something. But if we all walked out of this door and left you here by yourself,
Right.
what
You
would
have
all
no
your
audience.
achievements mean?
Right.
Exactly.
You'll be speaking to yourself in the mirror.
So right here is a good time for me to pay some bills, and then we're going to come up and let these two beautiful people have a last statement. We're going to get on out of here. Just want to ask the audience to please support our sponsors who support us so greatly. First and foremost, if you're serious about growing your clientele today, accept no substitute. Join UBA. UBA, the Urban Business Association, is an organization dedicated to what Shahid and I and Sarah and also Michelle have been talking about. Circulate dollars in urban communities. You can reach them at 908-259-5012. While I'm saying that, this weekend is the launch of Flavor Catering, having its grand opening there at 125 East 2nd Avenue in Roselle. Flavor Catering, do yourself a favor, introduce your cousin, your friend, and all of your family to Flavor. Flavor Catering is owned by Mary Washington Nieves and family. We want to wish her well as she launches Flavor Catering. Nothing says I love you like flowers. You have tried the rest, now try the best. A Rose's Petal. Miss Carolyn and Nathaniel Joe, who own a Rose's Petal in Patterson, 472 Broadway Avenue. They are also one of the preferred vendors on flowers.com. So as we approach Mother's Day, you can call on them at 973-742-5333, and they can get flowers delivered for you anywhere around the country. Mr. Russell Grady of Mr. G's Restaurant in Patterson, where good friends meet, greet, and eat. Mr. Russell Grady has been in business since coming up from Wrightsville, Georgia at 17 years old. He said he was doing sharecropping. I got to connect you with him. Then he would take the money from sharecropping back to Georgia to help his family. That's how he moved his family from the south to the north. But sharecropping in New Jersey is a new thought for me. So Russell Grady, Mr. G's Diner, you can reach them at 973-782-4020. William Smitty Smith and Tim Wheeler have an awesome facility, the Edge Lounge at 570 Main Avenue in Passaic. Enjoy Tuesday, $2 Tuesdays on all cocktails before 11. Karaoke Wednesdays, which is tonight. I'll be heading over there after I leave here to celebrate karaoke night. Maybe I'll try and do a song myself.
Oh, yeah.
And Ladies Night is on Thursday. Reach them at 973-928-4284. William Smitty Smith and Tim Wheeler, two wonderful brothers. My friend and partner Anthony Hibbert of Funding Magnet. If you want to raise $5,000 to $25,000 in working capital in less than 90 days with no collateral, no credit required, call Funding Magnet at 973-357-3698. Anthony is one of the most technically proficient brothers I know. Just love working with him. His statement is, for Funding Magnet, we fund your plans so that you can live your dreams. I believe that we live at a time, not the we shall overcome generation that the 60s talked about and did such fantastic work and sung the song We Shall Overcome on all the marches. But now I believe that there is a different theme, more confident people. DJ Khaled says all we do is win. And so I'm saying to you that you are expected to win, brothers and sisters. So with that, Shahid Abdullah, we thank you. Will you please come again, sir?
Yes, sir.
And how will people contact you for the book?
You can contact me at 908-296-2558. That's my phone number. And you can contact me on at Shahid, that's SHAHID _Abdullah 2000 at yahoo.com or on Facebook. And you can also order the book at the publisher Lulu, that's LULU.com. And you'll be able to get that book and my book that really caused me to write that book. This book, Success is Automatic, Unleash the Power of Your Industrious Nature. You can get that book there also. Just put in the River Gold and you can order the book.
River
Or
of
put in
Gold.
Success is Automatic. You get the book.
How do
Thank
we
you.
get in contact with you, Sarah?
Well, in addition to my website, you can also contact me by telephone, which is 877-296-6266. And I am also on Facebook, Sarah J. Cepeda, or Broken Chains.
All
Okay.
right. All right. Well, Michelle Harrison, the It Girl, we're glad to have you. Cornelius, I
Thank you
think
so
she did a
much.
fantastic
Oh,
job.
yeah,
So we're going to have wonderful Wednesdays from
Thank
now
you.
on.
Yes, yes.
So welcome, Michelle. Thank you,
Good job.
guys. Again, there are two types of people in the world. There are dreamers like you and dream killers. Embrace the first and run like heck from the second. This is Stan Matthews saying good night and God bless.